Welcome back, Student of the Game podcast. I am your host, Tavares. Thank you all for tuning in. All right, so right now what I want to do is I want to go back into, excuse me, I want to talk about, there was a scene, a very pivotal scene in episode 2 of Falcon and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And in this scene, Bucky, aka Winter Soldier, he takes Falcon, aka Sam Wilson, he takes him to go visit someone that he knew back in the day. All right, I'm not going to really say he's a friend or whatever, but don't know. But he takes him to go visit someone in Baltimore, Maryland, and that man is Isaiah Bradley. Okay, Isaiah Bradley, who's played by, I can't forget the actor's name, Carl Lumbly. Carl Lumbly, if you're familiar with Carl Lumbly's work, there was a sci-fi show that came out in 1994, 1995-ish called The Mantis. Okay, it was real cool. I remember watching that show as a kid. All right, I liked it. It was a real good show. I'm surprised we haven't seen like a reboot or anything like that of that, but it was a pretty good show. Okay, but also, his voice, you can recognize his voice. He voiced many characters in the DCEU as far as in the animated movies and in the Superman, the animated series. And he also starred in some movies. He was in, he had an appearance in Coming to America. And he was also in, This Is Us. If you watch the show This Is Us, I mean, he's been in a lot of shows and a lot of movies. Okay. He's a very familiar face. Okay. But anyways, this scene right here, like, it really got to me. It really did. It got to me, okay, because it's, and what got to me, like, even though we do not have the actual visual of to see what Isaiah Bradley went through, but you can just hear the pain in that man's voice, and if you could see him, you see it in his facial expressions, okay. You see, and that goes to show you that's the work of a brilliant actor, man. Like, you could see the pain in his voice, and that's the thing. You can see the pain in his voice. Normally, you could just hear the pain in a person's voice. But you can see the pain in his voice. You can feel it. You can feel it. Okay? You can feel it that this man was wronged. Okay? And in the scenario, he said that, hey, other soldiers, they went across that border to go face against the Winter Soldier. And they never came back. So they sent him. He went. And he whooped Winter Soldier's ass. There's no other way to explain it. You see, Bucky didn't deny it, all right? Ripped half his arm off, okay? But it's what happened to him afterwards. Like, this man should be honored, okay? How do they honor? What do they do to him? He gets put in jail. And then not only does he get put in jail for 30 years. 30 years, people, 3 decades. Can you imagine that? They put him in jail, and they conduct all these experiments on him. So they're still poking at him. Can you imagine that? That's, oh man, that really got to me, that scene. And it made me think. All right, it made me think about something after I watched it. All right, and okay, so everyone, you should be familiar by now. At the end of Endgame, of course, Captain America, he goes back into time to go place the stones in their proper spots. And the thing about it is, in order to preserve the current timeline that they're at, all right, he can't mess with anything else. He can't change anything. And for someone like Captain America, you got to imagine that's very hard to do because he's always trying to help someone. He's always willing to dive on that grenade for somebody else, okay? He puts others before him. You know, that's a big part of what makes him a very good leader, is the fact that he's a very good follower, all right? He put others before him, all right? Very team player, all right? So I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe when Cap went back in time, okay, all right, Cap, he went to go live with Peggy, all right, they went to go be together, and he enjoyed that life, the family life, and stuff like that, okay, Cap did not go into detail, but he said, hey, I went and tried some of that family life that Tony was talking about, and it seems like he enjoyed it. Now, we don't know if he had any kids, grandkids, great-grandkids, or anything like that, or whatever, but Steve, when he came back from his time travel, he didn't give any details. Okay, and he told Sam, he said, "No, I'm not going to talk about it." Now, he presented the shield to Sam. Okay, now listen, I do believe that Sam does deserve it, and I do think that Cap Cap always believed in him. He believed in him, okay? But I think what adds the extra element to it, I think it's quite possible that Steve became privy to what happened to Isaiah Bradley. I believe. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, the thing about it is this. Had Steve saw that happening, he would have said something or did something. No. Check this out. He can't do anything because then that will change what happens in the future with other people potentially. Okay? All right? Because he already took a big risk by going to go live his life with Peggy. That was a big risk. Okay? But it's like, you can't do that. Also, I'm pretty sure he knew about what happened with Bucky when he went back in time. But here's the thing. If I stop what happens to Bucky right now, I won't see Bucky later on, who is his best friend. One of his best friends now is Bucky and Sam. Okay? So it's quite possible that Cap didn't do anything so that way he can preserve the future later on. But he might have witnessed or overheard, because I think Peggy still worked for S.H.I.E.L.D. Okay? I think she still worked for him as far as we know. We can't confirm nor deny it. But let's say if she was still working for S.H.I.E.L.D. and she, husband and wife, spouses, they tend to share things at times. And then her husband is Captain America. This dude here, if he says he's going to keep it secret, he's going to keep it secret. Shut. All right, so check this out. So if he became aware of that and he saw, man, this dude here, Isaiah Bradley, pretty much did the same thing I did. And they're doing this to him because of the color of his skin, because they don't want the public, the world to know that there's an African American Captain America. There's African American donning the shield and stuff like that, or is a super soldier on the similar level, equivalent level as Captain America. Okay, that would be even more reason for Steve to give that shield to Sam. All right. Notice I said even more reason means that he already had reasons to give it to Sam. But that right there is even more reason. Or maybe, you know what? Here's another thing. Maybe that, like, Steve and Sam, since they met, they got off to a great start. They really clicked and gelled together. Okay. So it might be, here's the thing. Cap did not have to bring the shield back. He did not have to do that. He did not have to do that. Okay? So maybe he thought, man, this world, this country, they did not want to see a black man being Captain America. Well, guess what? I know someone who deserves it, and I'm going to bring it to Sam. Because guess what? He did not have to bring that shield back. Okay? Like, he could have came, here's the thing, and it's not like Sam or Bucky was expecting Cap to give the shield to one of them. If Cap wanted to, he could have just stayed retired and just kept the shield himself. He's not obligated to pass it on. He is not. Okay? So that's why it's like, man, so I mean, I don't think Cap had a conversation with Isaiah, but he probably heard about that through Peggy or through other people. And he said, you know what? Let me get Sam this opportunity, because I think Sam is worthy enough to take the mantle. Hey, Cap probably wasn't even thinking about, like I say, passing that mantle. He probably was just going to keep it. Okay? He probably was just going to keep it. All right? But, and now I know in the episode, Bucky told Sam that, I never told Cap about it, because had he told Cap, of course, Cap was going to want to get involved in stuff. All right? And he felt that Isaiah had already dealt with enough. Okay? He dealt with enough. Understandably so. So he said he didn't tell Cap about it. All right? But check this out. He didn't tell Cap about it. That was before Cap went back in time. So Bucky did not have to tell Cap, because Peggy might have told Cap. That's quite possible. It's possible, people. It's possible. And see, and that's one of those things. It's like, oh man, like would they show like the actual visual of it? Like, I wonder if we're going to see an episode where they go back in time and they show us everything. Showed us a lot what Isaiah Bradley went through, and you can kind of give a hint whether or not if Steve Rogers was aware of it. I don't know. Maybe they'll do that in season 2 if they're going to have a season 2. I don't know. But this right here, man, this is something big. This is something big for real, because the man was a super soldier. All right. One of the best. The fact that he took down the Winter Soldier, that says a lot. That says a lot, man. All right. And another thing that I think, when he said that when he was locked up and they still continue to do tests on him, y'all remember the other show where they did tests on prisoners, on inmates? Excuse me, I'm going to say Nicolas Cage, Luke Cage. So I wonder if we're going to see some tie-ins with Luke Cage there. But that's a whole another segment to talk about, right? But tell me, do you think that it's possible that Captain America was aware of, after he, well, listen, that Captain America, after he went back in time to put the stones in their proper spot, did you think Captain America might have been aware of what happened to Isaiah Bradley? All right. And if you do, okay, check this out. Do you think that was part of the reason, not the whole reason? Do you think that was part of the reason why he decided to pass the mantle to Sam? You know, because like I said, it's quite possible he might not have even intended to pass the mantle to Sam. Steve Rogers could have just kept the shield and nobody was going to say anything about it. All right. Well, maybe the federal government, but okay. Outside of that, no one else. Tell me what you think. Drop your comments down below and hit that subscribe button. Student of the Game Podcast.